And moving to the grounds care equipment.
Right, so in the budget in 2013, we had put funds aside to look into a grounds care equipment in Blythe. And so based on what was needed, we had Huron Tractor gave them a list of the requirements that was needed for this vehicle, looking for used equipment. So they have brought forward a piece of equipment that we've had an opportunity to test out, and it does meet all the requirements that we would need for a grounds piece of equipment. The negotiated price, it started listed at $69.50. It's now at, negotiated to $62.50 from Huron Tractor. It's used equipment, so we require a motion from council to purchase the piece of equipment for that price. Any questions about the equipment or the report?
Councillor Bailey?
I have a couple. One, are we replacing a tractor we're using now?
No, this is a new piece. However, having said that, for the last 2 years, we've been fortunate enough that a local resident, Rick Elliott, has allowed us to use his equipment. He has an ATV tractor with a bucket, and he was allowing us to use that to do a lot of our trails maintenance. That arrangement was based on certain conditions, and I'm not sure that that's going to be ongoing year after year. It's extremely generous of him to let us use that, but we really need our own piece of equipment to get down in the trail, to move the stone dust, to chop down the limbs, to pull back, like to do all of the work on the trail. They need some type of equipment to get down there, and this would fit that bill.
So Mr. Elliott's not saying you can't use it this year, you're just saying you found a piece of equipment that we could buy to do the same job. He's still allowing you to use his.
I'd rather not get into that in open session.
Okay, just go ahead, Ray.
What have we been using for drainage valves?
I wish Kelly were here because he could list off all the different tractors that he has down in Blythe. But one of the tractors was being used, and if Kelly were here, he would explain how now by us using this, we don't need to use that, and it's going to save him in what we use down there. Does make any? I apologize. I didn't realize he wasn't going to be here to help explain that answer.
Dave, do you want to help?
Okay. Using this piece of equipment, they'll be able to save time doing the diamonds because you won't have to go over them twice. And the tractors have deep lug tires. This has turf tires so that it doesn't leave turf marks on the diamond. This week they turned the water onto the campground. Normally, and through the winter, all the taps are left open because so they don't freeze and so on. So they used the gator to go around and shut the taps off, cut the amount of time needed to do that by more than half because you don't have to get in and out, you just drive up to it. The other problem that they've had in the campground when the ground is soft, with the tractor tire, with the tractor going around, leave ruts in the campground and then makes it rough. This has turf tires, doesn't make the ground, or it doesn't mark up the ground as much. Be able to move topsoil around and fill in the ruts that people leave when they when kids drive through the campground in the spring and leave deep ruts with their 4x4 pickup trucks and ATVs and stuff like that. So I think that it's a good piece of equipment, and I think it can be used a lot. I was over to the campground and looked at the vehicle. Looks good.
We're correct that I read in here that this was a part of the budget this year.
Correct.
So the figure that was budgeted through you, Pat, what was the figure that was budgeted, Pat?
It was approximately $5,000, but we also received a $1,000 donation, which will go towards this purchase. So the budget does meet the expense.
We're within budget. Okay.
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Just one last remark. I'm uncomfortable with going to a dealership and asking them to look for something for the town. Again, we seem to be going down this slippery slope. We're not looking for other costings. It's just, we have $6,000 and because we asked this person to find us a tractor, whether it's the right tractor or not. I think we should be asking for tenders for this kind of stuff, and I think we should be going new. If some, I don't know how old this unit is, I've never seen it, probably never will see it, but if we're buying something used, the cost will go up, and we've been through that conversation many, many times, whether it be a half-ton truck, a fire truck, or a new car for our building inspector. We need new because of the repair costs. I'll let it go at that.
James?
How many hours is on approximately, do you know?
It doesn't have an hours counter on it,
Okay.
so I can't tell you that. It's a 2007,
Yeah.
and Huron Tractor's giving it a full service review before we purchase it.
For myself, I'll make a comment on having a Gator myself. It will be probably a lot more satisfactory than trying to take a truck through, gathering up garbage in events where you have a lot of people moving around, that having drove a Gator at plowing matches and providing service. They are excellent for moving around where you have a crowd of people, and probably a lot safer because your field of vision is so much better than in a pickup or a small stake truck. Rock?
I'm in favor of this report. I think it's important to note that this is a fairly low-value purchase item. I think it warrants going by a negotiated method, which is part of our procedure. And at the same time, I think it's important that on the larger items, we always tender. I think that the tendering is the norm on purchasing. This is an exception, and I think that car that we just talked about is an exception and is legitimately a negotiated method item.
We have the motion. Mover and a seconder.
I'll move that we purchase the Gator.
Seconding Ray, or question?
No, I guess, no, I'm not second.
Oh, sorry.
Councilman Dallin seconds. Question then, Ray?
Yeah, I do. I just wondering why we, we have tractors in by, we have equipment in by, why we cannot use that for this? Because we're buying something here now that we're buying more to the fleet, adding to it, because it's gonna have to be replaced, it's gonna have to be maintained, and if we didn't have before, now we're adding to our fleet again. So I kind of support it this time, not knowing whether we could even, this gentleman would even give us a tractor. So.
Deputy Reeve?
When I spoke to Dave Cook about this vehicle, and he said that one of the things that they will save is instead of driving through the campground on a pickup truck, number one, they'll save time because it's easier to get in and out. And he figures that over the course of the year, they'll save about $500 in fuel. This thing is very, very fuel efficient, and you're not starting and running a pickup truck all the time. So it'll be better on the pickup trucks and easier on the people.
Pat?
I was just going to add that the fact that the piece of equipment can drag the diamonds is, I would say, not the principal reason we're purchasing it. It's a bonus in that we no longer have to use the tractor to do that. Our goal was really to find a piece of equipment that we could use for trail maintenance, as well as during campground events, as well as for campground maintenance. So that was really what we were looking for. The fact that this can also drag the diamonds really assists our team in Blythe in sharing and using and swapping out equipment. They don't have to go down, pick up the tractor, bring it down, drag the diamonds, return it. It's on site for them to use. But the trail maintenance, the campground park maintenance, the campground events, picking up garbage, all of those reasons were the principal reason for purchasing this. So We didn't have any equipment that could do this before.
Any more comments, or are we ready for the question? All in favor? Those opposed? Carried. And the Gator, it's not like a four-wheeler where you have to throw your leg over. It's a quarter of the work of getting in and out of a car to get in and out of a Gator. But as Dave said, driving along the water taps, you can still sit in the Gator and close them off. There's a number of things that it will just speed up the job considerably because of the type of machine that it is.